another great episode of Real Life Matters. Of course, I'm your host, DBoss. And please, before you do anything, take out your device, sign on the phone, go sign and subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the guests, support them during this time. We're coming out, even if we're sick or anything, we're still coming out to give you guys this entertainment. So anyways, today I have a very social justice. It must be social justice week or something for this thing here. But anyways, we got social justice. I have Alex Ihama. I have Moy Fung. And I have Chrissy Benz of the Canadian Congress launched national campaign. And this is what they're going to be doing. So we're going to talk about that today with everybody. So, Alex, you want to tell everybody what's this about?
Yes, it's always nice to be on your show. Love your energy, my dear boss. That's great. Here we are again. I get the opportunity to be on your fine show with two of my colleagues here, Moy Fung and Chrissy Benz. Listen, since the passing of George Floyd, we've all started to look at things differently. In fact, we are beginning to scrutinize even what we say, how we think, what we do. Everybody's talking of racism, which is great. But we're beginning to ask ourselves, what is the root of racism? Where did all this begin? And, we've narrowed it down to one word: colonialism. Colonialism is when a group of people leaves their shore and go to another nation for the purpose of stealing land, stealing resources, and taking their human capital hostage. This is what happened in the 1400s and the 1500s. The Spaniards, the English, the Dutch, the French, they left and went to Africa, to South America, and certainly to North America. And we are still dealing with the impact of that today. So for those who say colonialism is history, let me help you understand. If you're listening to me right now, you are being impacted in one way, shape, or form by colonialism. The fact I have to talk to you in English, my friend, means I was colonized. My mother has a language. My father has a language. There are 200 and something languages in my country, where I come from originally, Nigeria. But the British came there and told us there's one language, and that's English. They came and told us you drink tea, even though we are in 75-degree hot in the Africa. We got to wear ties. We got to wear suits. I always wondered why my dad have to wear this tie and all his shirt is almost strangling himself. When you can just wear the native clothes, what we'll call the agbada. The reason is because we were colonized. Now, if you bring it down here, the issues we are facing here in North America, in Canada, in the US, in UK, all over, is because there's a group of people who are still being privileged in the justice system, in the way business is done, in the way you are hired in school. Don't forget, there were schools here that says Black couldn't study law. In Canada, indigenous were not admitted. In fact, it was a crime for an indigenous person to hire a lawyer. That is colonialism. Okay. It is still playing out. Let me bring it home. When a group of people are privileged over another, that's colonial mentality. That has shifted into how we live, even into how we relate, how we communicate, how we do business, and in every way. So what we are doing at the Canadian Congress on Inclusive Diversity and Workplace Equity, which we are known to set the pace. At every beginning of the year, we set the theme for the year. There are thousands of EDI educators and consultants and organizations who want to do things right. Many of them don't know what to do. So every year, we bring them together from different part of the country and also globally. And we say, listen, this year, let us work together to dismantle colonialism. That is what we're doing, is the theme. As I'm speaking to you right now, almost 1,500 people have registered, organizations, institutions. They are getting ready to start to work with us to dismantle colonialism. And we are not just, this is not a talk. Everything, once it's done, there are course of action. We want to start looking at the policies in education, the policies in the judiciary, the policies in law enforcement, the policies in sports and in media, with people like Toyan Williams, who everybody know from Young and Restless, people like Honorable Jean Augustine, people like Honorable Don Oliver. These are people, these are pace setters, trend makers, history makers. All our speakers, if you add their years of experience in social justice, you are approaching almost 700 years. So we are ready to shift the foundation of this country.
So you say you come from Nigeria, your background. So can you tell everybody what part of Nigeria? Because people are going to ask.
Yes, I'm from the Midwest part of Nigeria. Nigeria, for those who may not know, is the most populous Black nation on the planet. The people who live in Lagos alone, more than the whole people who live in Canada. Canada is bigger than Nigeria as a nation, but Nigeria with population, we have over 200 million people, over 200 languages. Wow. In fact, there was a time in this world during the Iraq War, 45% of the petrol that was consumed in North America, certainly in the US, was coming from one country, and that's Nigeria. Very wealthy country, full of high people, brilliant people, intelligent people. But even among ourselves, the legacy, the traits, and the symptoms of colonialism still exist, where some people the fact you look down on somebody is a colonial mentality completely. That's just what it is, right? So how has that colonialism hindered Africa? In fact, let me add this: colonialism on paper, this is that it has hindered, but what he did was just like the coronavirus. Now we have the Omicron. Now we have the neo-colonialism. People don't understand what that means. Let me help you understand. Diamond that Canada has, most of them come from Botswana. They come from South Africa. So the colonial masters, so to speak, are still exploiting Africa. They are still exploiting South America completely. Even they are still exploiting North America. The indigenous people here, many of them don't have good roads or water. You and I have it. They own this land, but they have no access to the resources. That, my friend, is colonialism. And the time to dismantle it has come.
All right. So Moy Fung, tell us what your role is in this and where your background.
Certainly. Well, proud Jamaican, Moy Fung, everyone. So happy to be here. Thanks again, DBoss, for really having us here. Last year, when we met with you, we were just getting the conversation started. Conversation is important because that's how we unearth some of the underlying things that that we're faced with. And that's why we decided that this year, we want to focus on dismantling colonialism, because as we talked about, that's the root of all of this. It's the root of systemic racism. So it is more than a theme. Just so that you know, it is more than a theme. It is something as we move forward. This is what we're about. It's a movement. And we're, as Alex had mentioned earlier, we're really looking to implement and to change policies going forward. Just to go back to who I am, or where I'm from. I am from Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica. Big up to all the Jamaicans that are watching. And, just as a little Jamaican girl with great potential that came to Canada, we are oblivious to many children and families and individuals, just oblivious to these systemic barriers that are existing in this country of Canada that we come to for better opportunities. And because we're so oblivious, we don't even know when we're being shut out from opportunities. We don't know when things are held back from us. And we continue to live a life of really just survival. So we come, to the country because most families say they want to thrive. They want a better life for their families. And oftentimes we come and because we don't know, because we're uneducated on these issues, because Canada really is racism with a smile. I believe it was, who was it that said that, Alex? It was, I forget it.
Bailey, Donovan Bailey.
Donovan Bailey said that Canada is racism with a smile. And that's exactly so, because if we are not keen to colonialism and the impacts of colonialism, then we think that we're in a land of milk and honey. And boo, it's not like that. It is so different from that. And this is what this symposium is supposed to be: educational, not just for the people like Alex and myself and Chrissy, who we have some knowledge of what is happening, we have experiences and so forth, but there are people who are totally oblivious. For the children, for the youth that are watching all those rap videos that are totally oblivious to what is happening, we want it to be an educational form where they can come and understand that colonialism has permeated every aspect of society. The educational system is impacted gravely, right? And we need to know where we are, where we stand, and how to move forward. So I hope I've answered all your questions. Happy to be here.
Well, Barbados stepped away from the colonialism.
Yes, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, congratulations, Barbados. That was beautiful.
That's where my family's
from. That's where you're from.
Yeah,
okay.
my mom and my dad.
Yeah. You have an amazing Prime Minister, Mia Motley. Yeah, we actually invited her to this conference.
Oh.
Yes, unfortunately, they are going through elections right now. And what was amazing was we invited her. That email was sent out like 10 p.m. at night. By next morning, Chrissy, remind me, or so a day, we got a response. There are still some federal ministers we invited in the same country. We are still waiting to hear from them, right? So to
very proactive.
Yes, the person said the Prime Minister acknowledges our response. Unfortunately, won't be able to attend. So we've said, listen, we wish her well for the election, and hopefully next year she'll be able to feature. So yes, you are correct. If anybody listening to this right now, you've not heard Mia Motley speak, forget everything I said. Just go and watch what she's saying. She said she was at the United Nations and told them that you said you have given us independence. That is not true. In fact, you don't even respect us. When we come to United Nations, you don't give us the platform, or many people are not here to listen to us, right? So she went back to her country and she moved Barbados from being in the Commonwealth to being a republic. Now, let me educate those who may not understand the difference. Commonwealth is another form of slavery, because when they say Commonwealth means we own each other's wealth. But is that true?
No.
How come Africans need visa to go to Europe and Canada and they decline them? But Canadians, I am African and I'm Canadian. I went to South Africa. I don't show my Nigerian passport because I'll need a visa, but I show my Canadian passport. When I'm going to Nigeria, I show my Nigerian passport, right? When I'm going here. So, but when you're coming from here with Canadian passport, they open the doors for you. Like you open the doors, you know. So basically you are still our master, because we let you come to this to our country in Africa and we don't ask you for visa, right? We let you come and invest. But when our people come here, you say their education don't matter. They have to go back to kindergarten. You say their work experience don't matter. They have to work in McDonald's. So Commonwealth is not common. It is one-sided. A republic means I am not going to put the queen on my currency. That's what republic means. That's where you start from. You start removing them, right? So remember that the Buckingham Palace was built on the back of slaves. The White House was built on the back of slaves. The Bank of England was built on the back of slaves. These are not opinions. These are facts. Have they paid back for that? Have you paid back for the labor you got for free? Africa was raped, completely violated. They ripped out over 150 million people were displaced in Africa. Completely. So, you know, it was Jacques Chirac who said this. Jacques Chirac said, the former president of France, he said, we are here, included himself, we are here blaming Africa and saying it's a poor nation. He said, we stole all their goods, ripped them apart, and now come and say they are not progressing. He said, what are we doing to remedy the disaster that we caused? I tell you, colonialism and slavery is a disaster. It's like there was a nuclear bomb and Hiroshima is still trying to recover from that nuclear bomb. In the same way is what we're doing. So we are saying that enough is enough. Whether we're in Africa or we're in Canada, let us be free. That's what we're saying.
So Chrissy Benz.
Yes. I don't know how we're going to follow that.
you can. Tell us your background, where you come from, and what's your role in this?
Well, I'm Chrissy Benz. I'm the Director of Operations for the Canadian Congress on Inclusive Diversity and Workplace Equity. I also am the Director of our Western Canada office. So I'm based here in Vancouver, BC. So on the west side, out here on the west coast. So it's a little earlier for me.
I'm from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. I'm born out there. So
okay, so the Benz family on my side came from Germany and the Ukraine and settled in Saskatchewan. So that is actually how my family came to Canada. So my mom's side is Irish and my father's side is German, Ukrainian. And so that's actually how we came to Canada several generations ago, actually. But I came to the Congress. I feel like I always wanted to say long-time listener, first-time caller, but I started when Moy and Alex did the first event. I actually just started and was curious, and I had worked in international sport is actually my background. And I had, after doing the Olympics here in Vancouver in 2010, I moved to the Dominican to work in international sport. And so I moved there, lived in Santo Domingo. So a lot of people had their perceptions were that I was on a beach in a hut, you know, sipping Cuba Libres. And really I was in a city of, you know, 1 million people with an underground metro that people just didn't expect in the Dominican. So when I came back to Canada, I really had, and even my experiences in the Dominican, was really able to reflect on the colonialism. I didn't, you know, even seeing what was in the Dominican, that there's huge statues, the first hospital of the Americas, statues still today of Christopher Columbus. And so just seeing the colonization of the islands and then taking that experience and reflecting back on my experiences in Canada that as a white woman, I didn't necessarily see immediately because I was in the system. And so I was benefiting from it. So I wasn't seeing how other people were treated. And so being able to remove myself from that situation and be able to look back at Canada. So coming back to Canada, I'm raising 2 young ladies who are 8 and 6 years old, and they are Dominican as well. And so even seeing how my partner moved into Canada from a place of privilege in the Dominican as a light-skinned man coming to Canada, exactly what Alex said, his degree all of a sudden was useless. His accent made him othered. And so he experienced racism in his late 30s for the first time. So he was actually in sort of the privileged class in the Dominican and moving to Canada, moving to Ottawa in that first stretch. We came from the Dominican in January. So we went from about plus 40 to minus 40. So a rude awakening. So exactly what Moy said is just seeing those systems and the experiences and how people are treated really open things up, and then finding the Congress. And I think COVID is part of it, of what we want to look at what's essential, what's really important. And for me, that's making sure that our kids are safe and that everyone has equality and that there's justice for everyone. And so that is really the spirit of which I come to the Congress and why we're here and why running these events is so important, because so many people, so many white people in my network have a lot of learning to do, especially. And I think that the amazing speakers with their lived experience, their educational backgrounds, and the collaboration and the dialogues we're going to have, it's not just one speaker at a time. It's going to be the discussion, which is going to be extremely rich and you're not going to hear in other places. So really looking forward to it. And I'm sure your audiences are going to find a lot of enlightenment in the event. So excited for it. And thank you for having us on.
Yes. So who can tell us the roster of what's I seen? The Honorable Jean Augustine's going to be on there. Who, you know?
So that is actually, Chrissy's role. She's been amazing since she joined the Congress to help us to pull all this together. Like she said, we are going to be having segment, but I'll let her talk to it. Perhaps maybe Chrissy, you can talk to the segment because you're talking to different people, those who love sports, those who are concerned with the judiciary, those who are concerned with media, with the Toya Williams coming. Go ahead, Chrissy.
Yeah, we have about 9 panels on different topics of education, judicial, the media, community empowerment, sport, indigenization. So we have many different sort of topics that are tackling colonialism and how to build cohesiveness. And then on top of that, we have, like you mentioned, the Honorable Jean Augustine, the Honorable Don Oliver. We have political greetings from the Green Party leader. And then let me think of a few more off the top of my head here, but Tanya Williams is a keynote. Dr. Wendy Sapia is from the Ryerson University at Diversity Institute are all giving keynotes. And then each panel is, 4 to 6 professionals, experts, amazing speakers, all coming together to have deep discussions.
Wow. And which discussion are you on, Alex?
Yes, so I'm on the inclusive leadership conversation. How colonialism plays a role in leadership. A lot of people don't know this, but what people will consider the leadership style is often based on colonialism. I'll give you an example. People are quick to throw out Abraham Maslow they were quick to throw out Myers-Briggs. I say, Abraham Maslow, did he ever visit Africa? Did Abraham Maslow ever speak to a black person? Abraham Maslow probably even didn't talk to white women, right? Because in his days, that's just what it was. It was mostly dominated by white male. Myers-Briggs, Myers who, right? Myers-Briggs never spoke to Moy, never spoke to Moy's mom, Moy's grandmother. So to try to fit a Moy into a Myers-Briggs is like trying to fix a circle into a square. So we are going to take the concept of leadership and we are going to strip it of the colonial mentality. And then we are going to propose. It's a proposal. You are free to continue your colonial mentality, if you will. So it's a free country, it's a free world. But we are going to propose what we feel is inclusive leadership. So that's really what I am. Moy is also working. Moy is as a director for strategic partnership. So perhaps she can talk about the partners we have. Partners like you and like other organizations like we are partnering with Moy, if you will.
Okay, so thank you so much for that, Alex. Yeah, so I am the director of strategic partnerships, and I have also the privilege of hosting the Congress, the 2-day event. It looks like easy work, but it is a lot of work. We have some amazing speakers, as you heard Chrissy said, and panelists, and some great, rich discussions that I'm looking forward to. But in terms of partnerships, what we're really looking to do, because we know that there is strength in numbers, there's definitely strength in numbers. And if we want to go far, we cannot go alone. We need people behind us who believe in the same things, who share the same values, who are about justice and righteousness. And we're looking to partner with those individuals, those organizations, those arms of government. We're looking to partner with anyone who is willing to fight for justice, who is willing to fight for righteousness. So you being one of those people, right, DBoss, who is about equity and inclusion and so forth for our children and those coming behind us. So that's what I have to say. So for those of you who are listening, if you like what you hear about the Congress, please visit our website at CanadianCongressOnDiversity.ca. We have tons of information there. We do training and audits and strategy work for corporations and institutions. But we really want to partner with people and organizations who are truly wholeheartedly about equity and inclusion, about justice and righteousness, because we are dismantling colonialism. That's our aim, and we're not going to stop until we achieve that. So yes. We need people alongside us who are willing.
So what about those people? I know this is a tough one. The people that don't agree with it, are you guys getting a lot of backlash from those ones too?
Actually, we are getting a lot of, because in the form you fill to register for it, it does ask you your ethnicity. It's not a compulsory question to fill, but the place is there. And we are getting a lot of people who are expressing support. I'm talking white people who are expressing support for the topic. Some are saying we've heard about it, but don't know about it because white people in most cases have not been colonized. That's the truth, right? So colonialism, the very essence of colonialism means that there were a group of people who were predominantly white, if not mostly all of them white, who have subjected another ethnic group, in most cases African, people of African descent or indigenous people. So, and of course, they didn't teach that in schools here. So we are getting a lot of support. In fact, we just got off 2 calls today with the panelists for the education. So we have representative from the Ryerson University, the current vice president for equity and inclusive and diversity in Ryerson University. We have a professor from York University. We have a professor from Wilfrid Laurier University, Waterloo University, another professor who is working for herself now, but was also a professor at the University of Toronto. These are people who have spent at least 30 years just studying. This is, So we're not even talking their age now. We're just talking time they spend studying. People who understand that colonialism is hindering not just the admission of Black people into universities, but even to graduate. One professor said that on average, it takes 6 years for a Black person to go through a 4-year degree program. And the university said that is what it is. And she was tired that she left her university. Now she's a consultant trying to consult from the outside. Says she doesn't agree with it. These are the kind of speakers you are looking at. People who are set. We also have the judicial panel, as she mentioned, and you are going to see people like the Association of the Black Law Enforcement, Jacqueline Edwards. So we are partnering, Ryerson University, all these people, we are partnering with so many of them. We have speakers from the US. We also will be featuring the speaker who recently, is a medical illustrator who, for the first time ever, illustrated the pregnancy in a black skin. You must have seen that flying around social media because all the pictures you see of human anatomy, they were all white people. Pregnant woman, white. Baby inside belly, white. Leg, white. You're looking at the heart, white. It's like black people don't have heart. They don't have baby in the belly. Like, so now this young man have created illustration, medical illustration.
Wow.
Which another doctor who's on the medical panel is joining us, Dr. Jean-Luc Cadet from Maryland in the US, who is joining us to explain that the lack of black representation in medical illustration has hindered breakthroughs in medical science for black people for generations. That, in fact, when he went to Columbia University, which is a reputable university, all the pictures they used to illustrate medical activities and medical diseases and stuff were all white. So you see, what we are saying is bigger than us, frankly. So that's why we need everybody. As Moy said, we need you to go right now, Canadian Congress on Diversity.ca. Click on event, register, take the link, share it on your social media, share it on your page. If you are an educator, part of a teacher, invite your students, let them take a day or 2 days off school virtually and join in. Your teachers, your educators, principals, everybody's invited. Police officer and the judge, the doctor and the nurse, the director and the secretary, everybody's invited. And as I said, it doesn't matter if you're white or black, it affects you. Some people often say, I don't know why I do things this way. I don't know why I think this way. Well, come, let us talk about how we can help work together to renew not just our mindset, but be equipped with the strategies to help our people.
And is there a charge for people to come in for this?
Well, yeah, events like this, if you Google it, you'll find diversity events are going for $700. Some are $1,200.
Wow.
Ours is free, $0. Not only free, we are going to give you knowledge that is valued over at least $1,000 in those 2 days. You are going to have access to links, to resources, and you are going to connect with people on LinkedIn. Imagine people be speaking, they'll put in their LinkedIn profile, and you can connect with people on LinkedIn, send them a message, you hear them speak. My friend, it was Martin Luther King who said this: until a person can rise above his individualistic concern to a broader concern of humanity, he is not fit to live. And Edmund Burke even added, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. And I will quote another friend of mine, Albert Einstein, who said, you cannot solve an issue with the same mindset that created it in the first place. So my friend, it is not good enough to not be racist. We must all become anti-racist. White, black, Asian, it doesn't matter. This is a fight we must all join together to do. We must hold our hands and sing Kumbaya.
So, Chrissy, so how did you go about selecting the people that were going to be talking about these issues?
We really decided on the topic areas, the curriculum of the conference. We wanted to make sure we covered from different areas, and then we sought out the best and the brightest of people in our network, people we admired. The illustrator that Alex talked about was just something that went viral that all of us shared, and we said, let's reach out to him. How do we showcase this work? This is incredible. The light bulb goes off. So just reaching out to people we really respect and are leaders in their area, and really wanting to bring new ideas. And like Alex said, it's going to take new ideas to dismantle these old ways. We need new approaches. And so really innovative, bright people who are really trailblazers in each of their industries.
So you're going to be giving everybody a different, when they come out from this conference, they're going to have a different mindset to what they came before they came in with. And if they weren't sure about something, they're going to be right on the right path, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And in addition to that, in addition to helping you to renew your mind, reorient your thinking, equip you with skills and strategy to be an inclusive leader, to be an inclusive communicator, and to be a social justice advocate in your sphere of influence, you now, by virtue of coming, you are now part of the Canadian Congress. How's that? You are now a member of the Canadian Congress. What does that mean? That means you can reach out to us for advice, for encouragement, and for support. When we finished last year, you'll be amazed to know how many diversity consultants, right? Organizations were going crazy. Let's hire a diversity consultant. And they hired so many, and they started so many diversity groups in their organization, but they never really trained them. So many of them who came to the event last year, some were literally crying. Moy was on some of the calls, crying and saying, I am the diversity person in my organization. I don't know what to do. I don't help. Like, so people were coming to us.
So you're meaning to say that people that's saying that they're diversity and they're supposed to be all on that thing, they really don't know what they're doing.
Some of them don't. That's the truth. Here's how it goes in some cases. An organization is okay.
So how do they hire the people if they that means that they have mindsets?
So here, an organization will say, we need to do something, right? They say, oh, Alex Ihama is the only Black in that department. So why don't we make Alex Ihama the diversity consultant? Now, what if Alex Ihama don't know what to do? Did you train Alex Ihama? Did you send him to training? Did you give him coaching? You see what I'm saying? So they were put, in fact, we had a call with a woman who was a chief financial controller in a big organization somewhere out west. She called executive. We thought she was going to call and give us work to come and do. She says, because I'm the highest ranking Black executive and I'm a woman, they all looked at me and say, now you do something. Now they appointed me. And it says, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, right? If I didn't accept, it may affect my role. So a lot of people are in those positions, right? And the truth of the matter is this, DBoss, there is no one person that can educate you on this issue. This is not about, let me learn how to write. If you want to learn how to write, I can teach you how to write. What if you say, I want to learn how to write in Mandarin? I want to learn how to write in Indigenous. I want to learn how to write in African or in this. Then I cannot do that for you. That means I do my part. Then you go to Chrissy, you go to Moy. That's why we are bringing over 50 prolific speakers. My goodness. The 50 of them alone is a workshop. Some events, you don't get 50 people. The speakers alone we have are 50 plus. Why? Because
you know, we gotta call it
as well.
But you gotta call it is in Toronto, because when I worked in corporate America and stuff like that, Toronto wasn't as diversified back then because they didn't have a lot of different people working. Now you go into the banks, you go into different places, you see different people. But back in the time, 90s, early, they didn't have all that because most of the part-time, there was one, I've been token Black, the only one, and maybe somebody else was way on the other side of the building was something else. They maybe had a Spanish person and they had people just selected, but we all wouldn't sit together.
Yes.
So that was a part of the colonialism, and then they're trying to say, oh, we have diversity in the workplace, but we didn't come, because I tell the people that come here now to Toronto, I said Toronto still has a little ways to come because it wasn't like this before.
Yes.
And everybody has to, you have to think back too. It wasn't like that before. Not everybody was working in the bank. Not every race was in the bank. Not everybody was in that. And, you know, and it took a long time. And if somebody did get smart, I did law and stuff, and someone did that, they were like, you sure you did that? Excuse me? Yes, I did.
Yes.
Passed? Yes, I did. I came out with honors. Yes, I did. And but they don't ask these questions now. So what I'm saying, and coming back to you guys and coming back to this thing, it's going to ruffle a little bit of these people, because some of them are still in there in these workplaces, and they still have that, even though it's supposed to be multicultural and all that. But you really got to dig beneath, and this is what you guys are exposing.
Yes. So you see, the truth of the matter is, You cannot reach everybody. This is a personal issue. In life, there are three kinds of people. They are the ignorant, they are the arrogant, and they are the nonchalant. Some, frankly, don't care about this. Those ones will just pray for them. The ones that have ignorance, they have an opportunity to enhance their awareness. The ones that are arrogant, we're talking of the people like the Donald Trump, the white supremacists, those ones who feel that it ends. I mean, people like that, again, you just pray for them. That's what it is. You don't force people in this matter. But let's not make no mistake about it, as they say. It is one thing to bring minoritized people in your organization, Black, Hispanic, and all this. But it's another one to create an inclusive corporate culture. That is what we do at the Canadian Congress. We don't just bring awareness. Those organizations that want to actually make changes, that want to transform their corporate culture, we sit with them to look at their policies. We sit with them to create educational curriculum. We just finished with the city of Brampton. For 6 months, we were in the city of Brampton, educating them in different topics. Virtually, every time we come in virtually, we're talking different topics. How to engage in open dialogue. How to build trust between different ethnic group and leadership and management. We also had 9 months with Canada Basketball, 9 straight months. We looked at their processes and their policies, how they hire. Why is it that the Hall of Fame only have 1% Black people in the Basketball Hall of Fame when there's almost 80% people playing basketball? So we worked with them and we helped them and we created, changes, recommended changes rather to their processes, right? So these are what we do. Why are we sharing this? There are other organizations we are working with. So if you are out there, you are an organization and you say, you know what, we've not known what to do till now. We are going to attend the conference. It will be a start. But rest assured, we are there to support you throughout the year as much as we can to help you to decolonize your policies, to decolonize your processes, to decolonize your culture. That is the only way to build an inclusive corporate culture. People often say things are working and we are going to fix it. And I said, things are working. Most of these processes were built to be exclusive, right? Don't forget that racism started or ethnicity rather started, the concept of white and Black started because a group of white slave owners in West Virginia, they looked at the Black slave, looked at the indigenous and said, these people, if they come together, they can fight us. So let's create a club called White. Now, mind you, the Irish were not allowed into the White Club. The Jewish were not allowed into the White Club because there was a time when no Black, no dogs, no Jews. So why the concept of white and race is a socio-economic construct only for the privileged, so to speak. Now we are saying, let's be truly inclusive.
Wow. I remember Bank of Montreal was one of the first banks that hired a Black person, the guy, to be the president of the bank. And I remember when that happened, everybody was saying, is he really qualified? And he was working. He was working there for so long and he got that job and it was a big uproar. They had it in the newspapers. I don't know if you guys were around then when he was the president. They made him the president of the Bank of Montreal. So then all the other banks started to look at themselves.
Yes, but even till now, though, when I see people say we have the first Black president or first Black director, when you say that, you are inadvertently saying that your organization is racist, that your organization for far too long have hindered the progress of Black people. To say you have the first Black executive is not a celebratory remark. It is a time for sober reflection. How come you are having the first Black in 2022 when slavery was meant to have ended almost 200 years ago? So when you say it, you're almost saying suddenly Black people are qualified to be executive. No, we've been qualified for a long time. What is truly happening is this death of George Floyd created an opening in the window for social justice for a few Blacks to emerge or to be allowed to emerge What we are saying right now is just break down the barriers, let the women that are qualified progress, let the blacks that are qualified progress, and stop putting the responsibility for transformation on black people or indigenous people or women because they are minoritized. We didn't create this problem. This is a problem that was created for us. So work with us to fix it.
All right. So where can people, Moy, because you could probably get, they want to get the ticket and they want to attend, or they want to, because sometimes you tell the people and they still don't listen. And then the day of, then they miss it. So where can they get it on social media? Can they reach out to you guys directly, or?
Certainly. So our website is Canadian Congress on diversity.ca. If you go to that website, there is a link there for events. It will take you right to the event page. There's a registration page there. We're just in the process of uploading the agenda for the 2 days. But in terms of if you have any direct questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. My mobile is 289-242-3622. Moy at the Canadian Congress on diversity.ca. So, and then Chrissy as well. Chrissy, I'm pretty sure Chrissy will be accessible by email. So Chrissy at Canadian Congress on diversity.ca. So we're really, looking forward to having a really great time of education and empowerment. Alex and all of us, really, we speak about, for the most part, it sounds very, like an overview of what is happening. It sounds very macro level. But there are individuals right now, even as we speak, their families are being impacted by systemic racism. They're being left out of positions from work, or they're being bullied at work because of racism. And, people are feeling deep pain and despair because of these things. So it may seem very far-fetched for many people. A lot of people may be indifferent. Apathy is a thing where they've just, because they don't know, they haven't experienced it for themselves. To them, it doesn't exist, or to them, it's not real, or whatever you want to call it. But real families are being impacted. People are losing, food from their tables because they're being left out of opportunities or positions, or, mental health is a big thing. Racism has an impact on people's mental health and physiological health, and it's a real thing. And it's a humanity thing. It's not just a black and white thing or an indigenous thing. It's a humanity thing. And I think as individuals, we all have a responsibility as individuals to care about the other person's well-being. And all we're saying is, listen, as long as we're here, we're going to fight for equity and justice for all people. And that's all. So thank you once again for having us. I hope we've given you all the details to contact us for the event. Feel free to register. If you have any questions, call us, email us. I think I've given you more than enough details, but for sure, just reach out to us and don't be shy to do so, okay?
Well, I'm just letting the people out there that are watching this, these guys, this is their full-time job. This is not just like they come in a couple of hours and just doing Alex, Moy, Chris. This is full-time.
24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Right, Chrissy?
It's a purpose. It's our purpose and passion. This is what drives us. This is why we're here. So Alex talks a lot about, it's not the profession, it's the purpose. It's what we are here about, and it's really leading with our humanity. Is my success is tied up in your success, and your pain is my pain. And the more that we understand that and connect, I'm teaching my 8-year-old. We talked about compassion and empathy yesterday, and it's really about understanding, connecting the pain that I have as a woman going through the world, and understanding the extra challenges that Moy and yourself are facing as Black women, and understanding that and having compassion. Maybe I don't live it and I don't experience it personally, but taking the pain that I've had or some of the obstacles I've had to approach, and then understanding as an immigrant, a Black woman, any other of these obstacles that are put in front of you, and just really having the heart to want to understand and look for solutions, because it will benefit all of us, every single one of us. And we need to create that better place for our kids so that they don't have to still be dealing with this in another 20, 50 years.
Yeah, because even though you're saying that you're a white person, some people have biracial families. So, that's
actually has it. That's
yeah,
us.
He has it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to deal with that too.
Yes.
So just
Absolutely.
don't think that, you know, 'cause a lot of people who have mixed, there's a lot of people who are mixed and their families this buddy and that buddy, and you know, so it doesn't. And then some people like my mom and people, they couldn't, when my mom showed, oh, you have black children? Yeah, what did you think I was? Oh. So, you know, and that happens a lot to people. So, you know, a lot of people don't understand that when you have mixed family and their family's different with Chinese, this buddy in it and that buddy. Some people be looking at your family like, what's going on here? But that's what the world is, with everybody's mixing up. So, you know, somebody saying like Chrissy saying, oh, you know, I don't understand it. Yeah, maybe you don't understand it as a little kid, but now you are in a family that you will be brought to understand it.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
And like
correct me if I'm wrong.
No, absolutely. You know, I think Moy said it best. This is not a black or a white thing.
No.
Let's be clear. Some people may be watching this, and if you're watching this right now, you say, well, here they go again. No, then you miss the point completely. This is about kindness. It's about love. It's about compassion. It's about loving your neighbor as you want to be loved, right? So, and some people say, oh, you know, I don't see color. Then you're blind, because that's not even the right way to look at it either. Of course, what we're saying is not don't see color, is in spite of the color, right? I put it out all the time. I say, listen, the people, George Floyd will still be alive today if the people who were recording it, if they actually were conscious enough in their spirit and say, you know what, instead of recording it, let me go and push the police officer. What was wrong with that? What was wrong with actually, you had a crowd there. If that was your son under the knee of another man, would you record it to show the world, or would you throw the phone away and run towards to save that man? Nobody went to save him. We are all guilty. Those who were standby are as guilty as the police officer. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you don't see it like that, then you are not seeing at all. You're completely blind. Because if you want to truly be your brother's keeper, your sister's keeper, I cannot stand here and you are strangling somebody and then I'm recording it. And then I'm proud for having recorded it. My goodness. May God give us a heart that is loving, that is kind, that is gracious. That's what we're saying here. This is not about black or white, not about green or yellow. This is about being human, about being spiritual in your perspective, about being accommodating in your approach. So we are not, this is not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's not a Asian or indigenous thing. This is a human thing. These are what they should have been teaching us in the educational system, but because of colonialism, there are things they remove from the curriculum. Because of colonialism, there are things they refuse to teach in the curriculum. So consider this a re-education, a reorientation. It was Alvin Toffler who once said, the illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but rather those who cannot unlearn, relearn, and learn. That's it.
All right. Well, that's it. You guys have done it. And everybody should know about this thing, you know, support it, go to it, you know, just don't sit there and push your hand and say, oh, I don't know. No, you need to go and see what's happening. The guys are working hard. I thank Alex Ihama, Moy Fung, Chrissy Benz, you know, for explaining that today, because a lot of people are going to be educated. And this is what Real Life Matters is about. It's a matter. And this what matters is humans, humanity, you know, and so, you know, this is something that's very educational. So I you know, I encourage everybody to go and see it, go and be a part of it, go see what's happening. As Alex said, it's not a black thing. It's a human thing.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I do want to thank you guys for coming. Come back again. I want you guys to hear us to come back again after the conference and, you know, and tell us how it went.
You asked us to do that. Remember last year you said, you know, after the conference, and you see me here again. That's
well, I gotta get your number. I gotta get your number. You guys just you know what you do? Just stay on. I'm just gonna close out. You guys can say bye, and then just stay on. Don't leave. Okay. All right. So everybody,
thanks for having us. Thanks for having us, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.